Where did you work before starting Nagy's Body Shop?
I was a tool and die maker. I worked for a company. I had one earlier down on Miami Street in Akron, and then they built a new plant up on Home Avenue. I worked up there for the rest. I worked there 20 years. Tool and die work, machine shop.
Why'd you make the decision to leave that profession and start a body shop?
Something I always wanted to do. I went to a trade school, the old Howard Trade School in Akron, and the economy was pretty rough when I went to school in the early 50s. So my uncle worked as a tool and die maker, and he said if I could take machine shop, he'd get me a job. So instead of taking auto body there, I took machine shop and just continued doing that kind of stuff on my own, the auto body part. And so I did it basically to get a job.
What gave you the confidence to start a new business?
Something I always wanted to do. I enjoyed doing tool and die work, but biggest desire was to work on cars. That's what my main desire was. That's why I wanted to get out of that and start doing this. But I had 6 kids I had to feed, and so I stayed there for 20 years until I finally was able to quit and start the business.
What are some of the memories of those early years?
Lots of memories. I was working by myself, trying to lift heavy stuff back in the 60s and 70s. The fenders weighed 200 pounds. Try to hang that stuff in bumpers. I get my wife. We'd come back, and she was pregnant half the time, and helping me lift up, hold one end of a bumper while I'm trying to get a bolt in the other, and things like that. Furnace catching fire one time. Just normal stuff, I guess, but just worrying about getting enough money in to pay the bills, and she paid all the bills. Just tough starting out.
Have you ever regretted opening Nagy's?
No, never have. Never have. I consider myself pretty fortunate to be able to have a halfway successful business.
What made your business so successful?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that other than the fact that I tried to do what I would want done to me. I treat people like I want to be treated when it comes to a business deal, and to be honest, and felt like I had to answer to God before I'd answer to a customer about doing the right thing and being fair. And so I tried to do that all my life. Probably the best answer I can give you.
Would you have done anything differently?
No, probably the only thing that was hard was building a business where you lived. Probably wasn't fair to my family in a lot of ways, but it's all I could afford to do. I had to cash in my retirement money where I worked, and that's how I got the loan for my first building, so couldn't afford to buy anything anywhere else. I had enough property, and so, but basically, no, I wouldn't do anything any different.
Who would you say is your biggest motivator or supporter?
Probably my biggest supporter is my wife. She put up with a lot. Washed all my clothes and made my uniforms. I couldn't even afford to get uniforms from a uniform company, so she made them. She's probably my biggest supporter, and probably the other one would be encourager would be a fellow named Hank Pafko, who was raised on a dairy farm around the corner from me, and ended up being a builder and built a lot of homes. And he always encouraged me, say, "You'll be fine. You'll do fine." Probably the biggest encourager I had.